What if I told you your eyes are thinking before you even realize it? Not reacting, not wandering, not chasing bright colors. They're actively trying to understand the world. Scientists have just shown that when people look at a scene with no instructions, their eyes don't go to what's flashy. They go to what explains what's happening. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. For decades, researchers believed eye movements worked mainly through visual saliency. Bright colors, sharp edges, and movement were thought to pull your gaze automatically. Later, this idea expanded to include meaning, where people supposedly looked at objects they judged as important. But there was a problem. In real life, the most important part of a scene isn't always the brightest or most visually interesting. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's ordinary, sometimes it's the one element that explains everything else. That's why the researchers behind this study asked a deeper question. What are our eyes actually trying to do? Not what grabs attention, not what looks interesting, but what helps us understand what's going on. If the brain evolved to predict, explain, and survive, then eye movements shouldn't be random. They should be strategic. So the researchers removed tasks, goals, and instructions and simply let people look naturally. To test this, they used something called Winograd-style image pairs. These images look almost identical, but a tiny change completely alters the meaning of the scene. Imagine a man sitting on a couch. Now imagine the same image, but he's folding laundry. The colors stay the same. The layout stays the same. But the story changes. Participants viewed these images under different conditions. Sometimes they just looked freely. Other times, they described what was happening, searched for an object, or counted items. Their eye movements were tracked the entire time. Here's the surprising result. When people freely viewed the images, their eye movements looked almost identical to when they were asked to describe the scene. But those same movements looked completely different from searching or counting. That means when you think you're just looking, your brain is already trying to explain the scene. Then came the biggest breakthrough. The researchers created something new called scene understanding maps. The idea was simple but powerful. Remove one object from the image. Ask people to describe the scene. Measure how much the explanation changes. If removing an object dramatically changes the description, that object is critical to understanding what's happening. They repeated this for every object in the scene and then compared those maps to eye tracking data. The match was striking. During free viewing, people looked most often at objects that were most important for understanding the scene. Not the brightest objects, not the most colorful, the most explanatory ones. But the researchers didn't stop there. To prove this wasn't just correlation, they ran another experiment. This time, people were forced to look at either scene-critical objects or scene-irrelevant ones. Afterward, they were asked to describe what they had seen. The results were clear. When people fixated on critical objects, their descriptions were significantly better. When they were forced to look elsewhere, their understanding dropped. This showed something profound. Eye movements don't just reflect understanding, they actively create it. One more insight stood out. When people were removed from scenes, understanding dropped more than when any other object was removed. Humans carry information about intent, action, and cause. That's why our eyes are drawn to people first. Not because they're flashy, but because they explain what's happening. So why does this matter? For neuroscience, it changes how we think about vision. Seeing isn't passive. It's an active form of reasoning. For artificial intelligence and robotics, it suggests machines shouldn't just chase contrast or color. They should prioritize meaning and explanation. For design, media, and communication, it shows that guiding understanding is more powerful than chasing attention. And for everyday life, it means your brain is constantly building explanations, even when you think you're just casually looking around. The big takeaway is simple. Your eyes aren't wandering. They're investigating. Every glance is a question. Every fixation is a hypothesis. Your eyes are not cameras. They're thinkers. Check out more at newsway.com.